We're going to call to order. It's 2 o'clock. We need to start the meeting. Welcome, everybody. We're glad you're here. We're also glad to be here after that rain last night. And I'm going to call the meeting to order. The Board of Trustees of Weatherford College on Thursday, July 11th, 2019, in the Allen Strain room of the community room of the Student Center, located here at Weatherford College, to consider and act on the following agenda. And having done the call to order, I will ask Brent to pray for us.
You bet. Please stand with me. Lord, we're thankful for today. We're thankful for the summer. We're thankful for the students who are getting ready to start their futures with us. Please protect them over these next few weeks, especially as they're on vacation. Thank you for our board members, our faculty, and staff, and please be with our board today as they deliberate. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Let's do the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay. Crystal, it's open forum.
We have no idea. Or not.
So they're not here?
There's no one signed up today.
We get a free pass.
Oh,
So they're here, they signed up, but I don't know that they're here.
okay, that's good. So that we will move on to the President's report. Dr. Farmer?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair and members of the Weatherford College Board of Trustees, I would like to give a few brief recognitions, employee notices, and an enrollment update. Recognitions. I would like to recognize the 2019 Weatherford College Faculty Member of the Year, Dr. Scott Tarnovieski, affectionately known as Dr. T. He has served WC for the last 10 years and is the founder of the WC Interdisciplinary Academic Conference and organizer of the distinguished Kent Miller and Quentin Reeves lecture series held each semester. Dr. T is currently on a family vacation and wanted the board to know that he was extremely honored to be named Faculty Member of the Year. I am very excited to announce that Weatherford College has now received all the necessary accreditation approvals required to launch our new Vet Tech program. We look forward to working closely with the City of Weatherford as they begin new construction of the surgical wing on the animal shelter this fall, and look forward to admitting our first class of Vet Tech students next spring for classes to begin in August of 2020. Congratulations to the Weatherford College Wise County campus for recently receiving a grant from the Pretty Foundation to purchase stringed instruments for the Wise Youth Strings Ensemble. We look forward to continued excellence in the arts from WCWC. Trustee Dr. Robert Marlette, Mr. Brent Baker, and Dr. Daniel O'Meara were all instrumental in receiving this grant. Congratulations are in order for 14 WC student athletes who were recently named to NJCAA All-Academic Teams. Athletic Director Bob McKinley, Assistant Athletic Director Jeff Lightfoot, and all of our coaches are also to be commended for their quality recruiting and strong student support. Student athletes are eligible to earn academic honors by achieving an overall grade point average of 3.6 or higher.
That is fantastic.
Congratulations to Hayden Hardbald and Jerry Barrow for being awarded a $299,000 robotics grant from the National Science Foundation. We are very excited about the educational opportunities that this grant will bring to Weatherford College. And last but not least, Weatherford College was honored to host the inaugural Community College Association of Texas Trustees, CAT, Trustee Leadership Seminar yesterday. State Representative Chris Turner, Community College trustees, and community college administrators attended the event. Employee notices. DMAC Local requires the college president to provide the names of contract employees that have resigned since the last board meeting. In accordance with this policy, the following individuals have submitted resignations. Humanities instructor Marcelo Wilcham retired effective 6/10/2019, and humanities instructor William Black resigned effective 8/16/2019. We thank Marcelo and William for their service and wish them the very best in future endeavors. Enrollment update. We had a record high in student enrollment in the Summer 1 session with a total of 1,755 students. We also have record high enrollment for Summer 2 session. As of Monday, we had 1,162 students enrolled, and with 64 days remaining prior to the fall 2019 census date, we are on pace for record high enrollment, with preliminary enrollment projections currently indicating an 8.7 year-to-date increase in enrollment. Madam Chair, that concludes the President's report.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So the next item is for the consent agenda and financial reports, and it has been our practice recently to go over these and approve them in aggregate. Is there any reason why we should change that today? Do we need to go through any of this in any detail?
That's purview of the board. If the board would like to pull one of those items, that's certainly their prerogative for
Okay.
questions or further details.
Disapproval of minutes, financial reports ending in June, and renewal of proposals for intercollegiate athletic insurance. So we normally, at this point, ask for a motion that portion of the agenda be approved as presented, because it's in the data. Do I hear a motion?
I move we approve the agenda.
Motion?
A second?
Second? Thank you. Let's do a vote. Aye?
All in favor?
Thank you. Okay. Yeah, I will speak that I understand that Mac Smith does this differently, but this is Cody, okay? Okay. Item 5 does include consideration and possible action, parking lot construction, and Dr. Cantrell will deal with this. This parking lot construction. This is out here.
For
Yeah.
the tennis courts.
Yeah, let's hear that.
On June 18th, we opened 3 bids from contractors requesting parking lot project for the Weatherford College main campus. Dennett Construction out of Fort Worth, Civil Contractors LLC, and Reyes Group have all provided bids that met our specifications as prepared by our architects. The bids were reviewed and evaluated based on established criteria and relative weights by Dr. Todd Allen Farmer, myself, Executive Vice President, Bob Ayers, Architect, Hofer and Stanford, Philip Barrows, and Tom Rutledge with Tignall and Perkins Engineers. Based upon the rankings, as you can see on the next page here, the 3 companies, we are recommending at this time that Reyes Group be awarded the contract presented to you all to be allowed to move forward for a final contract. If there's questions on these bids, please ask those at this time. Feel free.
Seems straightforward. I was impressed that the one that you awarded the bid to has 2 years of warranty.
Yes, we were
Which
very
impressed me,
pleased with that.
looking at that. So,
When Dr. Farmer and I were discussing that, so many times that first year is when you see those cracks come up and all that, and this is very unusual that
so
you
2
get a
years warranty is
2-year
pretty good.
warranty.
I like that.
So Bob Ayers, he was trying to get here. Evidently, he hasn't made it. You started the meeting so promptly. But it was pretty straightforward, I think. I don't think there's any problems with it at all. There is a 90 days completion on this. We usually allow 3 weeks or whatever for them to get set up with all their permits and all that. But we're looking at November, as we had mentioned before, for completion.
Is there any kind of penalty if they don't meet that 90 days? Is there anything?
Yes, there are in the contract.
Okay.
It's a standard.
Just
that
the
we have.
standard penalties. Yeah, I figured that. So this requires a motion. Do I hear a motion to,
Or so moved.
and a second?
I second.
Thank you. And all in favor? Aye. All right, so that motion carries. It moves us to item 6, reports, and brings us to the budget. So
Okay.
that's Andrea again, Dr. Cantrell.
This
I could just speak from here today. This is going to be pretty brief. I don't think today there have not been that many changes made since we brought it to you all in June. That it's gone up just a little bit, reflecting an increase of the budget is at $58,409,688 as of today. That's an increase over last year's budget of $2,404,000. The major changes recommended in the revenues for the coming year, I'm going to talk about the major changes and then in revenue and expenditures. Once again, we have an increase in state appropriations of $597,713 in total for all of our campuses. That's for this year alone. There's 2 years in the biennium, so that we'll have the same figure this next year. We've got an increase of $523,000 in student aid due to Pell and Stafford loan growth. A decrease in operating grants of $47,260. Now, when I say that, this is what's in the budget. We've already been notified this week, I believe, that we received the NSF grant. So that figure will be changing, so it will come back up. An increase of $984,000 in tuition and fees due to the 6% rate increase adopted in March. Local funds other were increased by $265 due to the increase in interest income. Auxiliary services decreased by $59,704 due to the decrease in bookstore commissions. And I know I've mentioned to you all before, is basically kind of statewide. I think nationwide you're seeing that across the board. An increase of $293,920 in the Wise County transfer from reserves. I wanted to point that out. Our net is only 124 of both campuses, I mean all of our campuses. But for Wise County right now, this is what it appears that it is right now, revenue over expenditures. But I will say this, once Wise County comes in and gives us a tax projection, tax revenue projection based upon, and they do have increases in their certification appraisals. Well, that number could very definitely go down, 294, because we more than likely, with increased growth up there and all that, we're going to be seeing a little bit more in taxes than what we normally would. So that would lower that figure in August, after we've gotten that certified data. And that Wise County auditor always calls me and tells me the exact number to book for revenue at that point, once they've started talking about that seriously. Major changes in expenditures. Well, right now there's a 4% salary increase for all full-time employees, totaling $682,710. An 8% increase in adjunct and overload salaries once again. A mandatory increase of $38,038 in TRS benefits due to a mandatory rate increase from TRS from 6.8% to 7.5%. An increase of $400,000 in major repairs and renovations for deferred maintenance. And that's probably something we're going to be talking quite a bit about at the budget workshop. We've had some very unexpected costs this year that we've got a plan going for. Technology services include $927,000 for costs associated with the second year of implementation of the new ERP system. Now, 2 years down the road, we've got 1 more year that the implementation will move over into the 2021 will be our last year of implementation. But after that point, some of those costs should drop off a little bit. And nothing ever does. I know I tell you that all the time, but there's something else to take the place. But hopefully it's new things that we'll be adding instead of just implementing at that point. Auxiliary enterprises decreased by $187,000 due to the reduction in dormitory expenses. And that was because of the security system and the changes that we had, the cameras down there in the dorms that we changed to. So this year was heavy in expenditures for dorms, and it's going to increase and go back down for the coming year. Student aid increased by $619,000 due to an increase in Stafford loans, Pell, TPEG, and performing scholarships. There's an increase right now of 158,000, and I wanted to mention it to you later on. We're watching those very closely right now. We are up in our water usage and some different things, so I'm watching it very closely over these last 2 months to see if that will be adequate for us. But an increase in general institution contingency of $25,000, and that is based upon, I try to always keep a general contingency of 1% of the total budget, so that's why we're looking to bring that to that 1%. Other items of consideration for recommendation in the 2019-20 budget are still under review by the administration at this point. We've got some additional personnel compensation that we're still discussing and researching, trying to finalize. I think there's 1 or 2 personnel issues that have come up since we proposed this budget in June that we're looking at that will be coming back to you. The vet tech program and the additions to it, that we'll be presenting those to you in the budget workshop.
Okay.
And tell you the different levels at that point. Additional operating grant awards, just like the NSF, the National Science Foundation award, and some others that will probably be coming in by that time. Additional utility issues, landscaping issues. We've got some plans that are laying there that I know the Gardening Association, Parker County Gardeners, have recommended to us, and we need to meet and discuss just how many of those we're implementing to look at the landscaping here. And then major repairs and renovations. We do have some concern with our aging infrastructure here on this campus and some problems that we've had in the past few weeks, and going to be talking some to you all about that at the budget workshop on the 6th. We have not shown at this point in time, as I just told you on the Wise County, we haven't shown any increases in Parker County ad valorem or Wise County branch maintenance taxes at all at this point. We're waiting for that certification on July the 25th. Once we receive that, we can start working numbers and we can see exactly where we would be at certain levels, and to come back and give you those options, and then any additional needs that we have agreed to by that time the administration is ready to recommend, we would be asking you to look at those at the workshop. Are there any questions at this time?
The vet tech program, once it gets started, will function with existing employees, and at some point in its 2nd year, they will have to add an employee, is my general understanding.
It'll take an employee in the first year, but that Dr. Garoppolo is.
Dr. Garoppolo is in this year's budget as a program director for 2019-2020.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
The additional vet tech would have to be hired in the spring of 2020 to begin
okay.
classes in
Okay.
fall 2020, so they
That's
have to
good.
be included in this year's
That's
budget.
good, thank you. Any questions? Thank you,
Thank
Andrew.
you.
Okay, so this moves us then to demand study update. We talked a whole lot about data yesterday at that meeting, and in a lifetime that I've spent at this college, we used to not be concerned about data. We just told stories about our success stories and thought that was going to, get us all the money we ever needed. But today it's all about data, and I certainly, as a veteran of this institution, recognize the importance of data and how it does rule things. So, Mike, when you're ready.
Thank you. I'm going to start with some information on Wise County. Workforce and Continuing Education continues to explore industry training options. Currently, we're offering CPR, dental assisting, and welding in Wise County. And Janetta's folks, Kristen particularly, are looking for new opportunities. Most of the opportunities, as we heard yesterday in the board training session, are workforce-related continuing education, not really degree and certificate programs that we're seeking. So we're looking for those opportunities. In the academic area, we have 6 sections running this 1A4S, that's summer 2 session. 2 of those 6 sessions are running at under 10 students to support the ongoing campus instructional activities. That is fairly typical for the last 4 to 5 years of campus performance. So we're looking with Dr. O'Meara at ways of building the summer 1 and particularly the summer 2 enrollments.
So that's Wise County. Right now, head count is down just one person from last year, but contact hours are up by about 3,500, meaning that people are taking more classes and classes with more contact hours in them, so that's a good sign. In terms of the institutional update, you have a number of elements in your board packet. I'd like you to realize that what we're looking at now in general education, tracking students and student enrollment, is a first indicator of student success is when students register and when students apply to the institution. And as we've looked at our application and registration data, we've noticed some interesting things. Students registering in the first 8 weeks of opportunity to register for the fall tend to succeed in at least one college course and continue on to the spring semester between 86 and 94% of the time, which is a pretty good return rate for success. But at 3 weeks from count day, that's 3 weeks before the 12th class day, so roughly a week before we actually start classes, the rate of applicant success drops by 10% and stays lower. It tells us that something happens to students who apply late and register late for classes, and we're looking at ways to change that. Adam will be speaking with you about our efforts to develop a student profile. It's very important that we identify who is a Weatherford College student, what are the typical demographic features that they have, and what kind of challenges they encounter. So he'll be talking about that in Numbers with Heart. We also are looking at, to gain more data, you may recall that several months ago you authorized us to purchase a number of research tools in Compliance Assist. And we want you to know that in the fall semester, we'll pilot use of the Student Response Survey System. That's a real-time response survey system in our fall in-service, so that we can ask employees about the nature of the institution, what they believe makes a great college, what are the challenges that our students face, what are the outstanding features of our successful students, what are the outstanding features of employees of the college, so that we begin to form a profile of the institution, its students, and its employees. While this isn't, at this point, numeric data, what it is essential data for us to understand who we are, who our students are, and what we have to do to bridge the gaps between what they need and what we're already providing. So that's the report for the demand study. If there are any questions, I'll entertain them now.
Any questions, you guys? Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. So Adam, you're up next, dear.
All right. Well, within your packet, you'll find two documents. The first provides an overview of all students at Weatherford College, and the second document specifically focuses on students at the Wise County campus. The goal, as Mr. Endy stated, was to create what is the most likely student at Weatherford College. This was an exercise that Amarillo College conducted, and it assisted in them on determining how to best communicate with their students, and then also to assess what types of needs these students have. At Weatherford College, the student profile of our typical student is female, traditional age, which is 18 to 24, no academic difficulties, or rather she's college ready in all three areas for TSI, and is not economically disadvantaged. While this is our typical student, that student proportionally makes up 16% of our population for this academic year, which means that it is, while it's the most likely, it is a small percentage. We have several different types of students, as you can see from that document. Another data point I'd like to draw your attention to is our male population. Men are proportionally more likely to attend Weatherford College if they are not academically disadvantaged, nor are they economically disadvantaged. Stated differently, men are less likely to attend Weatherford College if they have an academic disadvantage or if they have an economic disadvantage. This is helpful as we look towards program development and to determining areas where we can expand into populations of underserved potential students. This holds true even more so for Weatherford College Wise County, as their proportion is much more significant than at the main campus of Weatherford. Lastly, as we look at serving our economically disadvantaged students, it is clear some of our students need services linked to our food pantry services partnered with the Wesleyan Foundation, but most of our students need assistance with basic school items, backpacks, scantrons, pens and pencils. With this information, we've had several offices on campus set up student stations. We have one in the liberal arts building in the lower level. We have one in the academic building next to the Welcome Center. And Weatherford College, Wise County, has also set up an area where students can get basic supplies if they need them. This is one project Weatherford College is pursuing to continue to create a culture of caring on our campus. That concludes my report.
Thank you. That small stations idea sounds like such a, I remember so many times a student just white-faced and I'm going to a night class and saying, I've got a test and I don't have any scantrons. And we always had some somewhere, but that's good. They're there and students will know that. That's really good. Thank you all.
I didn't realize we had to bring our own Scantrons back there. I just
Wait
went to
until
you.
you go.
You really had to bring them? That's the true
I did.
stuff.
I have a question.
Yes,
Something
yes.
American.
I was just, for instance, at Wise County, how can I find it that student assistance with material?
Right now, it's currently on donations from staff. But what we'd like to do is tap into our student club, We Care Club, and make this a project for them going into the fall and spring, and expand these out where we can have more stations around campus at each of our locations.
Is that adequate? Is that,
Right now, we are meeting the needs.
so, thank you.
Yes, sir.
As long as there's stuff there, that's good. That is good, good, good. Okay, Andrew, was that Mr. Ayers that came in?
Yes, it was.
Would he like to be recognized and maybe?
If you have any questions on the parking lot addition, Bob, I'm sure would be glad. They've already approved it, Bob, but that's a good thing.
It's just so, well, certainly you
He
might
is here.
visit with him after. Glad to have you here, sir. Okay, so now Mr. Endy's going to talk with us about the vet tech program updates.
Thank you. You have an overview in your board packet, so I'm just going to hit some highlights. The first, the
Yeah.
most important one is that on June 17th, 2019, the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools Commissions on Colleges notified us that we were authorized to begin the vet tech Associate of Applied Arts degree. So we are now clear with the THECB and the Southern Association. The next authorization that's required is from the AVMA, and that can't be obtained until the program is fully operational and we have a first and second year group in. So that will be a next objective. We have reworked the interlocal agreement. It's currently in process with the city. The chief issues in the interlocal agreement were the times of use of the facility of the shelter and who was responsible for what pieces of technology, which we'll address, and also the use of faculty. It was critical that we remained responsible for faculty. They couldn't work under the guise of another entity as part of their job. They could volunteer. And so we've revised the interlocal agreement to place primary responsibility for faculty in the hands of our program directors. So if they're involved in medical procedures like spaying or neutering an animal and they're demonstrating it for students, they may do that procedure 20 or 30 times so that people see it. But that is part of the teaching process, and so we remain responsible as SACS requires for the faculty members, but they will be involved in doing medical procedures while at the facility, and Dr. Garofalo will guide us in that process as the program director. Dr. Garofalo has also reviewed the request for instructional technology, which escalated, I think, beyond her estimated, and ours as well. We are now estimating at about $30,000 for the program startup so that we can get the video and audio that we desire and the playback in the space, but not at the level that we had expected. We had discussed it in its full development, which the estimates were over $130,000, which I don't think was what any of us expected. So we'll talk about developing that long term so that we get return on investment as we start the program. Our concern was that we would put an enormous cost on us that could never be recovered in the initiation of the program and might not be warranted by the needs of the program. So Dr. Garofalo is going to oversight that for us. We're talking about the imaging equipment, looking for options including gifts, discounts, and grant funding options for the imaging equipment. That's the radiology unit, which is priced at about $60,000. Dr. Garofalo has requested, and it's included in my proposal to the budget, hiring the vet tech required for the program in January of 2020. So that individual has from January through August to get familiar with the curriculum, to develop it with Dr. Garofalo, and to get on board with teaching the program when it starts. We've put I forwarded to you the budget as proposed for 2019-2020, and you'll look in your future agenda items at the timeline that we're recommending for marketing, installation of program information for a catalog, application to the AVMA, all pointed toward beginning the veterinary technician program courses in fall semester of 2020. So if there are any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
I noticed in the packet that we were sent early, where Dr. Garofalo is being placed in the ag area as opposed to allied health or natural sciences. Could you elaborate on that decision?
I've discussed with Dr. Farmer options for placement of the program, and at this point, it's our idea that it fits well in agriculture. There's nothing that's carved in stone. Dr. Garofalo has expressed concerns about placing it there rather than in health sciences because of the challenges of getting that program accredited and the greater familiarity our allied health dean, Dr. Boswell, would have with that process. And I've assured Dr. Garofalo that Dean Boswell will assist us with that process, regardless of where the program is placed, so that we make sure our AVMA application is well received. Right now, we've discussed that. It isn't necessary that it move at all. We're trying to optimize where it gets placed to best serve the students in the program.
Can you elaborate on why it was placed with ag as opposed to, I mean, what was that choice?
Why ag rather than
Right.
with health sciences? In health sciences, it would be aligned with other programs that are health science intended, but potentially overshadowed by programs like nursing, radiology, and there are already 9 programs in that area. It could stay with life sciences, but biology is a big feeder for the nursing and the other health science programs. So as we looked at it, one option was to put it with ag, business, economics. And while it is an agriculture science, I think there's a strong association with agriculture in our community between veterinary and ag. I think there's also a good opportunity to develop the business aspects of it for our students. And I would say that that's why the logic was to place it there.
And you said Dr. Garofalo has some concerns about this, or the placement of it, or?
Dr. Garofalo was concerned about the knowledge of the supervisors and their ability to understand veterinary medicine. And in this case, the individuals involved would be Vance Christie, who's got a master's degree in agriculture, and Dr. Alex Ebay, who's a medical doctor. We don't have anyone beyond Kathy Garofalo currently on staff who has a degree in veterinary medicine. And so as I look to people who would have a background in medical sciences, Dr. Ebay, while not in animal sciences, is familiar with medicine, and Vance Christie is fairly well familiar with animal sciences. No one in the health science program currently has any familiarity with animal sciences as part of their studies. So there is no absolute right answer as far as I can see about this, and this is what we're proposing to start with.
Thank you.
Certainly.
This seems really logical. Do you have any idea about the balance between small animal and large animal veterinarians, technicians specializing in one or the other?
No, I don't. I don't. And the program doesn't distinguish between them. They'll be trained to do both. So I'm not sure that the program is intended to serve one more than the other. I think it's really intended to do both. But the shelter, of course, obviously deals more often with dogs and cats and small animals.
Yeah, and we're so close to the Metroplex where
Yes.
the emphasis is on small animals that most of the technicians would probably go that direction. And probably so, but large animals are a little, it takes a little more facility.
Right.
And doing? I'm just curious about that.
I would,
I have no dog in this fight.
I'd respectfully interject on that. I think, you know, because we are the cutting horse capital
Yeah.
of Texas, and because this is one of the higher populations that raise cattle in Texas, us in the Rio Grande Valley are the highest populations for cattle raising. I think you're gonna get an equal opportunity of large animal.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
hoping.
And we have background with equine
Mhm.
programs here. So,
Well, they know how to balance that, so.
yeah. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate
Sure.
that.
Thank you.
Okay. So, item 7 kind of goes in a different direction, talking about future agenda items, because we've got budget issues and things. So, that will be taken care of by Dr. Farmer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Teresa has provided each of you with a printed list of the upcoming board meeting dates, and for the record, I will read those at this time. On Tuesday, August 6th at 2 p.m., we'll be having a budget workshop in the Mintz Conference Room. Thursday, August 8th at 2 p.m., we will have our regular meeting here in the Strain Room. We'll be setting the proposed tax rate at that time. On Monday, August 19th at noon, we will have public hearing number 1 in the Mintz Conference Room. On Monday, August 19th at 1:30 p.m., there's a possible called meeting or employee hearing in the Mintz Conference Room. On Thursday, August 22nd at 5 p.m., we will have public hearing number 2 here in the Strain Room. And finally, on Thursday, August 29th at 2 p.m., we will have our meeting to adopt the tax rate and the 2019-2020 budget here in the Strain Room.
Thank you. Is
Thank
that
you.
any questions?
Yes, I'm not familiar with this structure, so it's a fair question, I believe. Does it require, these require the board to be,
Yes.
these are board meetings?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And does it requires a quorum?
Yes, sir.
Is that
Absolutely.
correct?
Yes.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Budget season.
As I said earlier. And, okay. All right.
All of those
Okay.
hearings
Okay.
would be possible if we propose.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Say that again?
Those hearings, all of them are potential if we were to propose a tax increase. That hasn't been decided as of yet.
So there's a chance we may not have all of these.
Yes.
You mean like you got an August 6th workshop and then August 8th it clears?
Those-
are
the
those are
public-
sure.
The public hearings, once we get the certified tax values back, we'll know more about whether or not a tax increase will be necessary, and if a tax increase is necessary, then we'll have to have the hearings.
It's those 2 public hearings, the 19th and the 22nd. You have to do one at noon and one in the afternoon. And any further questions or? Okay, thank you. Okay, so now it's Brett's turn. Got announcements.
Yes, ma'am. A few announcements. We actually have more fine arts activity this summer than we've had in the past, and very active down there in the Alcac. And there will be a music workshop for aspiring young artists and also band directors as well and other instructors. It's called the Root Music Workshop, Getting to the Root of All Music. It's headed by Dean Durrett and several faculty members. That's July the 26th. It's a free workshop from 8 until actually, there's a concert that night at 7 o'clock featuring those faculty. Our Once Upon a Time Children's Theater will present The Princess and the Pea, July 27th through August the 11th. It'll be Saturdays and Sundays in the Alcac Theater. And then also, we have a summer Shakespeare program going on right now. Love's Labor's Lost will be the piece they'll be performing August 9th through the 11th, also in the Alcac. That's all.
Well, we've got a crew working at the Peach Festival.
We do.
And I noticed in the announcement that there were people flocking to work those early morning hours in the afternoon with lunch.
I don't know why that is, but
Been there, done that.
I walk in every year.
Okay. At this point, We're going to take a recess and go into closed session.
Madam Chair, we really have no items for the closed session today for the first time, so unless it pleases the board.
Madam Chair, we request the opportunity to be heard on a matter of due process.
It's my understanding that according to policy and procedure of the board, you have to go through a certain process to get on the open forum, which is the only avenue you have to speak to the board.
I understand.
So I can't approve your request, and we're not going into closed session.
And we were
so
signed in for open forum.
We were signed in for open forum, and unfortunately, because we didn't learn that we were being denied due process until pretty late in the afternoon, we were unable to get here before 2 p.m. started.
My position would be that that protocol is clearly published, has been known by everyone for a long time. Very simple matter to contact by phone to ask to get on it.
But I was not told that.
And I don't have the power to grant your request at this moment, so it is denied.
I am requesting that the board allow me to speak for 2 minutes. That's all.
My rules of procedure do not allow me to grant your request at this time, as I understand them.
Thank you.
So you're telling me, Dr. Farmer, that we don't have a need to go into closed session because we don't have any items?
That's correct, Madam Chair.
That is lovely news. Thank you, Sarah. Okay. I believe I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I so moved.
I knew you would. I'll second it. Okay. And I thank you all for your attention. I appreciate it very much.